What does it mean to be legally separated under North Carolina law? Hey there, my name is Ron Payne. I'm the CEO and managing attorney here at Payne Law, where we help families navigate through life's important decisions. Unfortunately, if you find yourself asking whether or not you need to get a separation or if it's time and you know it's time, I'm sorry to hear that, and that is definitely one of those important decisions, and you would 100% want qualified legal counsel to guide you through those decisions here in North Carolina so that you can make a decision that's best for you and your kiddos and your family. So what does it mean to be legally separated in North Carolina? It's really simple. A lot of folks think, oh, I have to have a written agreement. I have to have a contract. It has to have their signature. What if they don't consent to a legal separation? Great news. None of that's required. There are two things that are required in North Carolina law. First, you must be separate and apart. Now, what that means in North Carolina is you live in different places. You can't split the house and be on separate sides of the same, of the marital residence, living in separate bedrooms, sleeping apart, and going, oh, we live separate and apart. I mean, look, I've been divorced. I get the feeling. However, that is not living separate and apart for purposes of separation in North Carolina law. You've got to be separate and apart. So living separate and apart, that means one of you's got a separate residence, so somebody's got to move out. That doesn't mean you're not entitled to your share of equity in the house and that sort of thing, but you have to live separate and apart. That's the first requirement. The second requirement is that it has to be for 365 days if you're trying to get a divorce. But if you're not trying, if we're not ready for that yet, but that's ultimately you've got to be apart 365 days. The second requirement for being legally separated in North Carolina is the intent to remain separate and apart. So if you say, I'm going to my mom's house for the weekend, that's not a permanent separation, intent to remain separate and apart. Now, if after going to mom's house for 2 days over the weekend, you go, you know what, I'm not going back. And you say, I'm done, we're finished. Then as of that moment, you have legally separated. You are now living separate and apart, and you intend to remain separate and apart. So those are the two things required under North Carolina law to be legally separated. Notice, I didn't say you have to have a contract. You don't. Now, do you want a valid separation agreement? Yes. But do you have to have one to start that 365-day clock ticking? No. So if you're looking to get a divorce in North Carolina, there's one more requirement to that separate and apart. You have to be separate and apart. You have to intend to remain separate and apart. And to get a divorce, you have to be apart and separate for 365 days. So your 365-day clock starts ticking the day that you are legally separated with the intent to remain separate and apart. Another classic example I get is somebody goes on a business trip. They didn't mean to move, they weren't moving out. They were just gone on a trip. And then while they're gone, they have an epiphany. Or maybe their spouse has an epiphany because they find some text messages and they say, we're done. You're not coming back here. And they're going to kick you out. There's rules and reasons about kicking people out. I'm not going to get into that in this video. But if the other spouse says, fine, I'm not coming home. Forget you. I'm going to go live with her. Okay. Well, that has its own risks. But at that point, you've decided to remain separate and apart. Now, you also don't have to have both spouses consent to be separate and apart. As long as either one of you has decided to be separate and apart, you are separate and apart. You are legally separated. Once one of you says, I'm done, I'm out of here, whether you move out or the other spouse moves out, once you're actually separate and apart and you intend to be separate and apart, your 365-day clock begins ticking. You can reach a separation agreement. You can do the separation agreement before you move out and start the 365-day clock. Oftentimes, folks will do that, especially if you're talking about their marital residence. They want to have an agreement in place before they move out, or maybe they're trying to work out custody for the kids. So the agreement can come before or after. But either way, to be legally separated, no agreement required. You just have to be physically separated, and you have to intend to be separated and apart. As long as you do that, you are legally separated. If you are considering whether you need to take that step, or you've already taken that step, but you want to know when you can count the 365-day clock for being eligible for a divorce, or you need help separating those property or custody provisions and making sure that the deal you get is a fair deal under North Carolina law for your specific situation, reach out to the team here at Payne Law. We've got a great family law team here at Payne Law. They will help you navigate these important decisions, and they are here to help. We have been through this ourselves. We are loving and caring. We've got family and friends who've gone through this, and we've been handling divorce for over 12 years. We are here to help you, and we will help make sure that you and your loved ones are protected during this difficult time. To set up that consultation, we offer in person, via Zoom, or over the telephone if you're not able to get into the office, especially if there's safety concerns. Not a problem. We can be discreet so that your loved one, or former loved one, I should say, doesn't know that you're coming into the office. And we'll work with you on all of these things. Give us a call, 336-281-6928, or reach out to us on the web at applepaynelaw.com. We are here to help. I hope this has been helpful. We've got some other great YouTube videos that I hope you also find helpful. So like and subscribe here on YouTube for more helpful and friendly legal content. And until next time, stay safe, take care, and have a great day. Thanks.